Wake up, Portland. It's a wonderful day today.
It was another time, a more innocent place. Portland, Oregon, December 1958.
Dreaming of a white Christmas.
Christmas was in the air with holiday songs on local radio. And inside their Northeast Portland house, the Martin family made plans to collect Christmas boughs and greenery. They got into their 1954 Ford station wagon and left for a Sunday afternoon trip up the gorge. They were never seen or heard from again. It took a few days for anyone to realize the Martins had vanished. Ken and Barbara Martin had 3 beautiful daughters, Barbara 14, Virginia 12, and Sue 10. Each Christmas, Ken dressed as Santa to the delight of the neighborhood children. Worried relatives soon alerted authorities and the search began, with posters offering a reward. The Martin story captivated the city. The front pages of the Oregonian and the Oregon Journal were filled with news about the family. What could have happened? Where were they? How was the search going? But as days turned into weeks, there was frustration among searchers. 5 different police agencies, no one really in charge, no coordinated effort, few clues. Christmas and the New Year came and went. The Martins were still missing.
Call Naomi. Hey, love. Hey, I know you can't pick up today, so I just wanted to catch you up. So I'm at the Dalles diving with Scott. Remember that family we told you about that went missing in the 50s? The Martins? It was like 3 little girls and the parents, 1958, never seen again. Well, we're actually diving with some detectives, some retired detectives from Portland, and sonar scanning, and it's not going super good. It's really cold, first of all, and it's deep. It's really deep right here. And all the cars are kind of have this, all the rocks have this car-like shape, so it's not going great. I'm diving with free diving, and Scott's going down with scuba. It's about 2 foot of visibility, and you'd think it would be easy to find a giant cream white station wagon from the 50s in the river, but it's not going well. Hey, hold on one second. Hey, yeah, I'm coming back in a minute. Why don't you, I've searched this area down to about 40 feet and bed of this rock, and then when I come back, I'll do the rest of this. I think Scott, I see his bubbles over there. He's a little further out. Okay, yeah, I'll be down in a minute. All right, so anyway, I'm standing on the cliff, apparently, where they were pushed or thrown or murdered somehow here 60 years ago today, December 7th, 1958, right? 60 years to the day. And I'm sure lots changed, but it's not like I could imagine a car driving up here. I don't think my car could drive off the edge of this, my SUV. But, and apparently someone saw tire tracks like a month later, but it seems like solid rock. So I don't know, I guess if it happened, it's possible. So, yeah, and apparently there's this murder for hire scheme behind the whole thing. There was this one detective called Graven in Portland, and he thinks that that maybe the brother who wasn't in the car, right? There was 3 little girls, and his brother Don, he was not in the car. He was in New York, that maybe he was somehow involved. I guess he was kind of estranged from the family. Maybe the rumor was he was gay, and that's why he was not really part of the family. He was also a lot older. Anyway, it seems like kind of a stretch. Like, that doesn't seem to make somebody a mass murderer in my mind, right? All right, well, if we find the car today, I will definitely text you. And otherwise, I will probably be in the hot tub when you get home because it is freezing. All right, babe. Bye. So let me catch you up on how I got here. So I left the Savannah College of Art and Design with a master's degree in product design in 2000. And I was going to move to San Francisco to set the world on fire with art and design and being in the center of things. I just always thought I was destined to be in the middle, to be important, to have a sense of purpose. So I came to the Gorge to windsurf for a couple of weeks on my way to San Francisco. Did that and then headed on to California. Got right into traffic. And for 2 weeks, I really was questioning my decision about if that was the place to develop my career and to live. I thought, the Gorge was pretty sweet, especially back in 2000. It was quiet, it was beautiful. And I thought, if I go to a small town like that, it might be better in some ways, but it also might be compromising that idea that I'm going to be able to really be important in art and creativity that I felt like I wanted to be. But I have sculpture too, right? And I thought, well, I could be a sculptor, and it's only an hour outside of Portland. So that was my fantasy. So I moved back to the Gorge, got married, had a couple of kids, and for 10 years did sculpture and did real well at it. It all culminated in an international artist residency to Western Australia. Now that's the part of Australia facing Africa, right? It's the Indian Ocean. And when I was there, I got really into diving and shipwrecks and shipwreck artifacts. Like as a creative person, this realizing that a shipwreck and a shipwreck artifact are like these stories that are lost of real people, and somehow the artifact contains what happened, right? That was super cool for me. So I created fantasy shipwreck artifacts, and I had written the story, and maybe I never said what the story was, but I knew it was there, and collectors seemed to also. Galleries loved it. It was a very successful time in life. So unfortunately, after coming back from Australia, 2 difficult things happened. One is I entered that phase of life called divorce, and the second one was that the art market just basically collapsed. The financial crisis, all the galleries that sold my work closed, and I needed to find new work. So I switched. I became instead a benefit charity auctioneer, which I love, and real estate manager. These are great careers. But once again, it was kind of turning the dial down on what I thought my life would be, like the level of importance I wanted, being in the center of some important discussion, some sense of purpose. But I had 2 kids to support, 2 households to support, and so I had to do what I had to do. The good side of coming back from Australia was my free diving was on fire. Like I came back and I saw the Columbia River so differently than I ever had. Not just the surface, not just the sports, but the depth. And at about this time, side scan sonar was available, like at a reasonable price. So I bought a side scan sonar, I got really good at using it, and that's how I knew where to dive, right? Because the Columbia River is never more than 5 or 6 feet in the very best time of the year of visibility. So this scene in the Dalles, my first Martin dive, basically, I was already doing another mystery at that point. I had heard about a lost government research vessel that sunk in a storm in 2017, and I was on my way at that point to finding it under the bottom of the river, under 22,000 pounds of sand. And the reputation I got from that project and bringing that up led people to start calling me, right? They knew that I could probably figure out where something went if they lost something. I started going after foils and phones and jewelry, glasses, car keys, guns, fishing rods, and sometimes, sadly, even people who went missing. And I was pretty good at doing it. So, the Martin car. Why is the Martin car so interesting to me? First of all, 60 plus years, nobody can solve it. That's pretty fascinating. Secondly, there's all these dark stories and lore around it. There's this group of people all through the years who won't let this mystery die. Like they keep keeping it alive, right? Like they're hardcore. But mostly it's that first reason. It's like I have this personality defect. If someone says something is impossible, my first thought is, I can probably do it. call adventure sports scuba. Hey, Ron. Hey, it's Archer. Hey, gosh, I hope you haven't closed down for COVID forever. I've got 10 empty tanks that I need to get filled up when you're back in the shop. And I've got so much to tell you about. So I've been diving in the Cascade Locks, like where the town of Cascade Locks is, like kind of near the Bonneville Dam. Hold on, I'm going to send you some photos. Hold on a second. So yeah, these locks, it's fantastic. There's an entire set of navigation locks that's mostly just flooded. Like, this is how steamships used to get through the Cascade area, and now the Cascades is flooded, the waterfall's underwater, and so are most of these things. But it's all still there. It's like hand-carved basalt stone and arches and tunnels and giant iron doors. It's pretty fantastic. Oh my gosh, and it's like 40 feet, 60 feet deep, and then there's all this stuff that's been thrown in over the years or lost into there. So that's pretty... It's pretty fun. I know you don't like diving in the river, but you should let me take you there sometime. The current rips. Let me tell you, like, it's so much. And I don't want to ride the current down because I don't want to get stuck in something. And then I tried to make a rope system with anchors so I could like pull myself up the rope, but that was exhausting and very dangerous also. So anyway, I bought a scooter. I sent you a picture of the scooter. I bought one of the scooters you recommended, the battery-powered things, and it's so great. It's like a magic button that pulls me under the water, stops the current basically is what it feels like. So this way I can start downstream and I can just go up, and if I don't like the look of something, I go around it, go over it, go back downstream. It's awesome. So thanks for that. What else? Oh, the Martin car. So there's this new book. Remember, I've been working on the Martin car for about 4 years now. There's this new book called Echoes of Distant Water by J.B. Fisher. And it's great because it has like all of the stuff about the Martin case in it. And so I basically started in the Dalles, and every place that's mentioned in the book, I have searched or sonar searched or scuba dived, right? So I got all the way down to the locks, and then I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. The locks are so huge and fun, but there's no sign of the car. So I reread this part of the book, though, I wanted to tell you about. You see, in 1959, 6 months after the family went missing, the daughters, the two youngest daughters, Gina and Sue, what is their names, and they were seen floating in the river by Thunder Island. And I sent you a picture of the river. I thought Thunder Island was way out in the middle of the river, right? I thought Thunder Island was way out there, and that would make sense if the bodies had floated down from the Dalles. That's the part of the river they would have gone through, right? But it turns out I'm not right about that. Thunder Island is actually, half of the locks is Thunder Island. It's this canal. He saw the bodies floating through the canal, like 25 feet from where he's standing, both girls, like almost touching each other. Obviously girls, obviously dead, clothes, everything just float right by. So he calls the police. The next day, Sue is found down in the Camas Slough, and then the following day after that, Gina is found at the Bonneville Dam. And they both had been killed by drowning, apparently, is what the autopsy said. So I'm like, well, this is a huge clue, right? This is like, the car must be close, maybe even in the locks. You see, there's this parking area just on the upper end of the current side. You could drive right in the 50s. Like, that's the parking area, and you could go right to the edge and right down. Like, there's nothing to stop you at all. So I wonder if the car accidentally drove in there and then stayed there until May. Because remember, May is when the current comes through. That's when the snow is melting, and like the current is 4 times more than it is the rest of the year. So I wonder if the car stayed there with the bodies in it, started rolling, the window breaks, the door opens, something, the 2 girls float out, the guy sees them, and then the car is continuing to go. Which, I mean, that really feels compelling to me. The problem is I've searched the locks and I can't find any sign of it. It's not like I've looked everywhere and there's no sign of the Martin car. There is actually an F-150 I found, and from the 90s. And you'll appreciate this. I put a note on it that it says, like a piece of plastic ribbon that I wrote on it, magic marker. It says, "We've been trying to contact you about your car's extended warranty." And I tied it to the A-pillar of the car. So if you ever go down there and see it, you'll know that I've been there before you. Anyway, yeah, and there's no plans. That's the other thing. I went to the museum and there's no plans for the locks, like how they built it. So there's got to be something. The car's got to be there. That's what I think. I just can't figure out where it might B. Anyway, I will try to make it there on Monday. I'm hoping the shop's open. I'll bring a mask, and I got 10 empty tanks to fill up. All right, dude. Thanks. Bye. Finding something that nobody else knows about, like this clue or this place. I mean, this place is a giant playground for a diver, right? So much to see. It's really making this Martin car thing way more than just a side project. You know, it used to just be the edge of my recovery business. Now it's like, I'm doing this more and more. It feels, it's good. And I know this is not like a huge thing. This is a small regional mystery. Almost everybody who knows about it, 75 years old, and there's not even that many people. But to me, it's really starting to feel like a purpose. Today is October 21st, and 2022, and it's the first really rainy day of the fall, and I just got out of the river, and I need to make this video because I really almost drowned. Like, I really came close to dying. And I just want to remember this, and I want to, So I dove by myself at the locks. It's rainy, no one's here, and I go, my purpose today was to do videotaping of like some of the stuff, like a GoPro on my helmet, on my mask, to go downstream where there's some mechanism stuff still left in the locks, of the cylinders, the tunnel entrances, things like that. So I get suited up off the boat ramp, I go down to 60 feet where it's dark, and I go along the bottom, about 1,000 feet. And then there's these giant iron gates. And these were gates that used to hold back the river in the locks. Now the river's 20 feet higher than them, but they're still 40 feet tall. And they're 500,000 pounds each. They're huge, and they're still there. So I get to the bottom of the gate, and I go up and over it. And now I'm on the back side, and there's another set of doors, and I get that on video, and I see the old pistons and the tunnel entrances, right? And now it's about halfway through the dive, so I head across the canal 90 feet. So now I'm on the Thunder Island side to the north, and I start heading back. And I come to the big closed gates again, and I go up, and I'm behind the giant gates. And I'm not, with my scooter, it's so powerful, often I don't really adjust my buoyancy often, because the thing can always pull me right back down, right? So I'm going up, and my buoyancy is a little bit sloppy, like I'm getting more and more buoyant. And I'm going up behind the door, and it's only about 2 foot of visibility, 2.5 feet. So I didn't know that there's a huge salmon net streaming off the top of the door with the current, and I'm behind it, behind the door. And I come up, and I just go right into this salmon net. And I'm still really buoyant, right? My dry suit, and I hit the net, and all of a sudden, I'm shocked because I didn't see it, and all of a sudden, I'm really tangled. And this is like the moment that nothing is normal. Like, this is bad. This is really bad. This net, I didn't see it coming, and all of a sudden, I am in it. I'm stuck in it. Like my valve, the whole left side of my body, the valve on my tank, the GoPro, the light on the back of my hand, my fin, even the scooter was tangled in it. And it's bad. And, I had about 20 minutes of air left if things had been good. But now I hear myself breathing in the tank, like in my mask. And it's like, because the world is not normal. This is not right. This is panic. Like I am 20 feet under the river in a fish net that no one knows about. And it's a big net. And I think I gotta make a plan. I gotta slow my breathing. Like I'm talking to myself. I may have even talked out in my mask. Like, Archer, you gotta calm down. You gotta get your breathing slow. You gotta do this. You gotta do it. So I held my breath. And I have a set of paramedic shears on my BCD, right, on a clip. So I reach over, like proving to myself how calm I can be. I reach over and I unclip it, and I carefully, not to drop them, put them on my hands. And I thought, I'll start with my left hand, right? Because the flashlight on the back of my hand is really tangled up in this stuff. So, and it's tricky because the blades are so small on these paramedic shears, but this is why I have them. This is what I always thought, fishing line, entanglements. So I'm like, okay, stay calm and just start cutting. And I do it. And with the refraction of my mask and the refraction of the river, water, it's hard to even get the shears where I want them. And then once I start cutting, it's not really cutting. I'm getting more tangled faster than I'm cutting out. And at this moment, like I somehow become aware of this net, like the bigger picture of this net. Like it's big, and the squares are big, and it's full of fish. Some of them skeletons, some of them just like goopy remains. Other ones are still alive fish. And they're looking at me. I'm looking at them. This is where things come to die. I'm in this. Like this is where I die. I can't let that be true, right? And I also see this theory, this picture of like this hallway at this moment of like my wife and kids when I die and nobody knows where I am and there's no one here. That my kids, my wife, the not knowing part is this incredible layer of pain. It's a nightmare. This is not how I want to die. So I need to come up with another plan. So I carefully take the paramedic shears, and I'm like proving to myself that I'm not panicking at this point. I'm breathing as best I can, slowly. I put them back on. I'm like trying to trick myself into believing I'm not panicking. And I have a knife. I have a knife on this side of my body someplace, but I'm worried that it's tangled or my hand is going to get tangled. When I put it over there, I reach carefully, and I feel it, and I pull it out, and it's a sharp serrated knife. And then I reach to this valve with the hand that's tangled, and I get it opens so I can let the air out of my suit and out of my BCD. So I start descending behind the wall. I'm still tangled on the net, but now I'm hanging by the net, like 5 or 6 feet lower behind the iron doors. So now the net is all going up, and I'm hanging like a marionette, right? And I can't even turn my head, because if I do, the mask moves, and I start leaking water, and then there's water around my nose and my mouth, and I'm breathing air through the water. It's bad. I got to stay calm. So I reach up with the knife, and I start sawing, and I can feel the strands of the net. And as I saw one, I might go down a little bit more, and I go down a little bit more. And finally, I cut free, and I'm falling, and it's darker and darker and darker. And I fall all the way down 40 feet, and I collapse on the concrete behind the door. And I still have a lot of net on me, but now I'm free. So I get the scooter going. Thank goodness the propeller's not tangled. And I get it going, and I go as fast as I can away from the doors downstream. And as soon as I think I'm safe enough, I just shoot up to the surface. And you're never, ever supposed to shoot up to the surface, especially from 60 feet. But I did it, and I broke through the surface, and I was so panicked at that point. I tried to pull off my mask, just enough for my mouth to be out, and it was dumping rain. And I knew it was dark, but I didn't know it was raining. So that all happened since I was down there. It is raining so much, like the water is just splashing everywhere around me. And I think maybe I died. Maybe I'm dead, because the colors of the trees were unreal. Like the 3D-ness of the clouds in the sky, everything looked like I've never seen it before. And I thought, maybe you're dead. And I'm drifting down the river at this point, so I'm like, I need to get out of here. And so I went over to the tip of Thunder Island with the scooter, and I held onto the rocks there, and I managed to get the mask all the way off and kind of see what was happening, and resting there for a few minutes, and then eventually staying on the surface. I went up to back to the boat ramp upstream, got my stuff off. Yeah, and that was just 10 minutes ago. This is some of the net that was on me. Right? This is some of the net that almost held me down forever. This is what was left. I don't know if I can dive in the river again. I really don't. I mean, this mystery, is this worth it? I always thought something like this could happen. You know, like if you would have asked me, I'd be like, yes, entanglement is a thing. But to actually go through 10 minutes or so of struggling for my life, seeing the option of dying so close, that was absolutely horrifying. You can't forget this, Archer. You really can't forget this. You almost had a really terrible death. And do you ever think about your own death? Right? I mean, you're going to die. Do you ever think about it? I mean, I honestly don't think I have, because in my mind, I've got like 2 deaths that I've thought of my whole life. One is I die and I don't know I died, like I die in my sleep, or I get hit by a bus, or in some kind of alive 1 minute, dead the next, right? And then the other death that I imagine, and this one is I like better actually, which is like being on hospice, having my death being known about beforehand, and people coming, my kids, my wife, being able to like close everything, right? Healing this thing that was me right before I die, where everything is as done as it can be. That's a good death, I think. But meeting my fate 20 feet under the Columbia River when it's cold and it's dark, and I know I'm going to die 10 minutes before, and I'm panicked, and I'm gasping, and I'm seizing, and I'm dying, and no one is there to help me, and no one's ever going to know. That is a nightmare. I knew if I didn't dive soon after that, like if I didn't get back in the river, I was probably never going to get back in the river, right? So I planned out a very simple dive, maybe a week or 10 days later, put on my stuff, go down off the boat ramp, go down to 10 feet, and lay on the bottom. That was it. But to be in my mask, to feel that claustrophobia, to hear myself breathing, even to feel my gloves and the cold water and the pressure on my body, made the first 5 or 6 minutes, it was one of the hardest things I've done. But after a while, I move around, and then I found a lead weight, then I found another lead weight in the rocks, and I don't know, I kind of just got over it, I guess, in that moment, or I thought I did. And eventually, the Martin mystery, I felt the pull of it again, and I felt more confident, and I got back into this. But I've never been back to those western gates, right? I mean, somebody should really go and take those nets off. They're super dangerous. But I don't think I'm the guy for that job. You know, psychologists will tell you, I think, that between emotional trigger and your senses, the sense of smell is the strongest. Like, it's like direct. And I did not realize when this was happening to me that my using Johnson's No Tears shampoo in my mask as a defogging agent was going to burn that smell so deeply into my mind, in my body. And a couple weeks later, I'm on my living room couch or living room floor. I think I was on the floor relaxing, maybe having coffee. My wife had just come in from walking the dogs. She bathed the dogs, and the dogs come running into the room. They're just little dogs. And I had a panic attack. Like, all of my organs felt like they went into my neck. I couldn't breathe. Like, I remember I was locked out of breathing. I think I may have even fallen over on my side. And it wasn't the dogs. It was the smell of the shampoo that she had just used on him. That shampoo, I was blindsided by it, absolutely blindsided. But you know, I've really learned about this. There's no shortcuts, you know, when it comes to this traumatic stuff. The body absolutely keeps the score. call Alan Smith. Hey, Alan. Hey, I know you can't pick up. I'm going to leave you a message. Dude, I got some awesome news. So awesome. I think I know where the car is. I think I know where the car is. I found a secret compartment. Hold on. What? No, I wasn't waving to you. No, sorry. No. Anyway, I found a secret compartment under the river. Yeah. So I've searched the whole locks, right? I've been there, like, there's no car, no sign of the Martin car. But there is the F-150, and then there's this Volkswagen down there too. That's like the hulk of a Volkswagen. And they're both in this area where there's kind of sand and rocks and shells, and it's not concrete. And I'm like, well, why isn't it concrete? That's weird, because most of the canal bottom, the locks, it's concrete on the floor. And it goes down, and now it's all the shells and rocks and stuff from over the years. And I think, what could that be? Why is that? Maybe it's a feature. Maybe it's like 3 or 4 feet deep. So I take a fiberglass rod, and I take a fiberglass rod down with me, 15 feet long, and I go to where the concrete meets all this debris, and I start hammering it. And I hammer it, and it goes in 5 feet, and then it goes in 7 feet, then 12 feet, and then it's 15 feet down. Like, I can't hammer it anymore. So it's at least 15 feet deep. So this is pretty cool, right? Whatever this is, it's like something really unexpected. Let me send you this picture. So I'm at the Oregon Historical Society, right? I'm going through all these archives. I'm wearing white gloves. They give you white gloves. You can only touch stuff with white gloves. I'm going through all the photographs of them building the locks, like 1880s, 1890s. Check out what I sent you. This is a massive pit under the canal, under the locks. And look how huge it is. There's this guy at the top of it. That's how huge it is. He's laying down. So you can see by this pit, so the current would go from the right side of the photograph to the left side. So then it drops down. It's at least 20 feet deep. So I think that's where the car is, right? So if this pit was empty in 1938, when this was still a canal, and it's full of stuff now, someplace in that is where the Martin car is going to be, right? And then, so I'm thinking about, okay, the F-150 and the Volkswagen are both at the very downstream side of that. So I have this theory that if a car falls off the parking area upstream, falls in, the water picks up enough, the car starts moving. It gets a lot of energy. And it doesn't just fall into the pit, it slams into the pit to the back wall of the pit, right? So I'm thinking, if the Martin car's in this pit, which I think it is, then probably it's going to be in the very backside. So that's like a 90-foot long wall. So someplace on that basically x-axis. And then I'm like, well, what's the y-axis, right? You're an engineer, you get this. So the x-axis is this 90-foot wall. And then I'm like, the fisherman, he saw the girls float by 25 feet right in front of him. So let's assume the car's rolling, the girls float out while the car's rolling, and the car keeps rolling straight. The y-axis would be 25 or 30 feet off the end of the wall, right? So now we got the X and the Y. The question now is the Z, right? How deep is this thing going to be? Like, how much debris has been in there? How does it deposit? Is it regular? Is it only happen in floods? There's just a lot of questions. So I'm going to be doing a lot more digging this year. So I decided to buy a much bigger dredge, like seriously, like 30 horsepower, 5-inch dredge to really suck up some rocks. The dredge pumps, the high pressure pump is so big, it doesn't even fit on my boat. I had to buy a whole nother boat, like an old junker fishing boat, just for this job. So I can't wait to show you that. The other thing is I'm like, well, if I'm digging in the bottom of the river, I should get some permissions for this, right? Because this is the Columbia River, and a lot of people care about it, of course. So I go to the Hood River Sheriff, I make an appointment, I have this awesome meeting with like all the detectives, the undersheriff, the sheriff, everybody's there, and they're like so into my theories, and they're like, yeah, what can we do to help you? We love this. I'm like, awesome, well, how about write me a letter and for the Army Corps of Engineers, and then I'll apply for a dredge permit, and that should be it. It sounds easy, right? Actually, this is the hardest thing I've ever done with this case was get all these permissions. I had to get 120 different sign-offs, all the Indian tribes, archaeologists, State Historical Preservation Office, the Coast Guard, Department of Environmental Quality. I had to get a clean water certification myself. This is thousands of dollars and months of time, and I got it. I've got an inch-thick binder of permissions, basically, that I keep in the boat inside a bread bag so it doesn't get wet. Oh my gosh, and then I gotta tell you this. So one day, like 20 days after 20 days after I get these permissions, it's like 8 a.m., it's dark, I'm getting in my wetsuit, we're back in the boat, down the boat ramp, no one's there. All of a sudden, this intertribal police officer pulls up, and he's like, real serious, and he's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, well, we're dredging, looking for this car. And he says, well, this other guy in the gorge is in a lot of trouble for looting Indian artifacts or doing something like that. The tribes are really upset, so I need to see some permissions. What do you got? And I'm like, I didn't say it, but I'm like, oh yeah, I've got permissions. And I'm super excited to show, because nobody's asked to this point. So Tucker goes to the boat, takes out the bag, hand it to him, and we're in the rain, and he's in like a half hour in the rain. He goes through every permission. And at the end, he hands it back. He goes, dude, you got permissions. I'm like, thank you, I know. I'm so proud of that. And then he drives away, and Tucker and I are like, woohoo, high five. Anyway, I know this is a long message, sorry. Let me remind me to tell you about the name of my new boat when I see you. All right, dude, take care, bye-bye. So, if I'm right about where the car is, it's because, in my mind, it was an accident. The car drove off at the parking area, fell down within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, everyone's dead in the car. It stays there for 6 months. The current comes through, now it's May, the car starts rolling, the girls float out, the fisherman sees the girls. The car, what happens to the car? It goes into the pit. And the pit was probably half full at that point. So it goes into the pit. So this was an accident. That's my theory. I mean, maybe it's not, but this is what I'm going on. Because from the beginning, what's bothered me about this case was the treatment of the brother, Don, right? Don was in New York in the Navy. I don't think he knew how, why, or where his family went missing. It was rumored that he was gay, maybe had a difficult childhood, and maybe his parents had sent him back to the East Coast to go to boarding school, and then he joined the Navy. But it seems like in the 50s, the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, would qualify being gay, or it would say it is a sociopathic personality disorder. Basically, being gay was being perverted, and being perverted was like being criminal. And in this case, this is what I've seen. People reason that because there's an underground network of gay men, because it's secret back then, and there's an underground network of criminals, because criminals, that somehow underneath they have this contact, and therefore Don could have ordered his family to be killed. Why? Nobody ever says. And that's what Graven thinks, that he's the homicide detective that sees this as a homicide. But most police at the time, the Hood River Sheriff, the Oregon State Police, they all thought it was an accident. They all thought the car drove in at the locks, but they could never find the car. They didn't know about the pit. I mean, I think that car was in the pit from that day in May, and then within 5 years, it's completely covered up. Right? I'm maybe the only person that knows about the pit for 90 years. I mean, I've told a lot of people since then, but I think that it was an accident. But then this book comes out, right, by J.B. Fisher, The Echoes of Distant Water. And in it, he follows Graven. That's his protagonist in the book, right? So we're really hearing a lot of the possible murder things. And when the other police kind of disrespect his theory and they don't think it's murder, the author of the book takes it as like, what are they trying to hide? What don't they want us to know? And kind of ups the conspiracy question mark. Now, the author never says this in the book, but almost everybody who reads the book, I mean, read the Amazon reviews, everybody says, Don did it. And I can only imagine what Don's life would have been like, right? He lost his parents, his sisters. He has no idea why or how and has to come back in and take care of all their stuff in their life. So there's that tragedy, and then he carries suspicion. It's really 3 strikes. It's a bad thing for him. Now, speaking of the DSM, if I had to choose a diagnosis at this point from my life, I would say it's obsession. Me seeing those 19th century photographs of the locks being built and having to think about the coefficients of friction for the suction dredge I'm building and the X and Y coordinates and where the car would be and how to dig down to it and how to get all these permissions. Like day and night, I am obsessing. Like I'm not sleeping. I mean, my wife will wake up in the middle of the night. She goes, "You thinking about the pit?" I'm like, "Yes." But this thing has the same shape that I do, right? Everything I'm good at, everything I love to do, everything I love to think about, history, engineering, mystery solving, the river, it has it all. I am in 1,000%. And this thing, and maybe this is the obsession talking, but I really think I can do this. All right, I am parked right next to the locks, got the boat. It's November 1st, 2024, and I'm waiting for Tucker, my assistant, to get here. He should be here in a minute, and then we'll go back down to it. This is the third day in a row, I think. 3 dives. Yeah, I'll probably do 3 today. What's the expression? The better part of valor? Is it quitting? Discretion. Discretion is the better part of valor. Well, quitting. Let's talk about quitting, because that's what I'm feeling the most of this morning. I'm tired of this. And I don't know how I'm going to come to the conclusion of whether I should keep going. I mean, I want to put my dredge away for the year. I want to be done. I thought at 56, I would have this like level of maturity that I could just decide to be done with something. But, I've invested tens of thousands of dollars, years of my life, literally. And, I know where the car is. And if I feel like I quit right now, then I'll be this guy who's like, "You ever hear about the Martin case? I have a theory of where it is. I couldn't find it, but I have a theory." I don't want to be that guy. I know where the car is. I want to find it. Right? But it's hard. I've moved about 24 tons of material so far. It's just, the east wind's been blowing a lot recently, which makes the waves go through the locks. And it's like every hour I dive, I have to sit in the boat another hour to degas my body so I don't get the bends. It's cold. It's boring. In the pit, the pit is 83,000 cubic feet of material. 83,000 cubic feet. The Martin car, if it exists, is 360 cubic feet. There could be 225 Martin cars in the pit, and that doesn't even stick up into the locks. That's just the pit. Does that mean my chances are 1 in 225? Maybe. Anyway, yeah, the pit. The pit is so 50 feet underwater, 10 feet under the ground. It's dark. My dry suit leaks around my tendons and my hands because my hands are the lowest thing. I'm digging. It's super nasty. The thing is you can drive right up to the edge of the locks, right? That's how the Martins maybe met their fate. So people drive up there and they dump stuff. Like all the dead deer on Highway 84, guess where ODOT, the workers throw them? They throw them in the locks. And it looks like when you're there that it just goes to the ocean. Like from the surface, that's what it looks like. It doesn't, it goes into the pit. All these deer bodies and the fish. The Indians dump all the salmon parts, like when they come at the end of the day and just dump them down, thinking that they just float and they're part of the bigger river. They're in the pit. The amount of bones I experience every day. Ancient bones, modern bones, flesh rotting on the bones, dogs, deer, so many deer, buffalo, pigs, cows, just horses. There's just so much. It's so gross. And then the fish. There's thousands of rotting fish parts every day I deal with. Some of them are like 25 years old and they're just blue fuzz. And if I touch them, they just turn into like disgusting salmon rot confetti. And I get ear infection after ear infection. It's really, yeah. And then there's the dredge, right? And if the dredge gets clogged up, I've got hundreds of lines of high-pressure hose, and I've got suction hose. And if rocks jam up in that can take half a day. I mean, just getting the dredge unplugged is like one of the most dangerous things. I mean, besides all the other dangerous things. So, is this what I thought my life would be, right? Is this what I want? I've almost died doing this work, and I don't think this mystery's worth it, but I feel like I'm so close. I mean, I want to be an old man. I want to meet my grandkids someday. I want to have a good life. I don't want to die in this pit of hell trying to prove I'm right. Oh, here comes Tucker. All right, back down to the pit, Archer. So an hour later, I'm all suited up. I fall off the boat, and the first way of getting down to the pit is going down 40 feet. So I float with no buoyancy, just heading down, down, down. And there's a stage at 40 feet that the doors used to pivot on. And this is where I always take a few moments, get my ears adjusted, make sure my buoyancy's right, make sure I've got all the tools. Now at 40 feet, it's twilight. It's like a green twilight. And I don't usually turn my headlamp on for the first time down in the pit because I want to preserve my full peripheral vision, right? I don't know if something new has arrived, if a big net is down there, if there's strings or ropes or a tree or something else, so I want to keep it dim until I'm actually working. So I don't need any tools since I'm just digging the hole today again. So I head down another 10 feet with the scooter pulling me. The high-pressure hose that powers the dredge is going along, but it's not running yet, so it's just flat and flaccid. So I go along the back wall, and at 50 feet, it's a lot darker, but I can still see the glowing half of the F-150 sticking up out of the sand against the back wall of the pit. Then I can see the Volkswagen Hulk of this that I dug up several months ago. It's mostly just a flat platform with wheels, completely rusted. And now I can see the hole I've been digging. It's 10 feet deep, and it's about 30 feet wide on the top. Because you see, when you dig a hole at the bottom of the river, it's not like digging a hole in your yard. The sides collapse on these holes with the angle of repose, so everything is always collapsing. So no matter how big or small the hole, it always has this shape. The pump's not running yet, so I head down into that cone. So when I'm digging, I'm not really digging at the bottom. I'm sucking material out of the bottom, but I'm watching the sides collapse. They're constantly collapsing in waves. The waves spread from the bottom to the top. And often it stirs things up, and that makes the water murky where I can't see for 2, 3, 5 minutes sometimes, so it's a lot by feel. I settle down to the very bottom of that hole, and I've got my dredge here. It's not running yet. Sometimes it takes my assistant a while to get the pump going. Sometimes it's lost its prime, or he's having trouble with the motor, so I just wait, and I rest. And it's dark, letting my eyes adjust. And I can hear my breathing out of my regulator. I hear the bubbles so loud, and I can hear them go up in the pit and then get carried off by the current 60 feet above until they hit the surface. So I hold my breath. I breathe out a little bit and hold my breath. I can hear until the last bubbles popped. It's so quiet. I turn on my headlamp, and I am so surprised. Around me are 1,000 baby salmon, like the size of a house key, each of them, all swimming the same direction toward me. I've never seen this before. And they're clear, and they're rainbow colored at the same time, like all their little organs are like colors I've never seen in the pit. And I'm holding my breath, and I can't believe this. There's 1,000, 10,000, they're just everywhere. Finally, I have to breathe when I let the air out, and the fish just go. I don't know where they go, they're just gone. And everything is heavy and brown and old again. So I hear the pump starting up on the surface, and I feel the suction starting to go into the dredge. It's been 12 hours since I've been here, so I have to dig up all the stuff that's collapsed since I was here last. It's mostly fish heads and bodies and bones and golf balls and sticks and just all sorts of stuff that's been buried in the pit forever. So once that's all cleared, I get ready for actual digging. And because of the collapsing sides, because of the visibility, I can't rely on it at all. I have to do everything by feel, or I certainly have to be ready for that. I hold 2 fingers in the dredge so I can feel the power of the suction. And I lay my hand on the hillside because I want to feel if something's coming down or if the hillside's giving way. I want to try to get out of there as fast as I can so I don't get trapped in the bottom of this pit. So now the pump's going and the collapsing's starting, and I work 10, 15, 20 minutes. I'm making pretty good progress. It's dim, it gets dark, it gets light. And then I feel the whole hillside collapse, and it goes black for a few minutes. And I pull the dredge out because I don't want it to get too much stuff in it. And I wait. Something I can feel in my feet, like the whole hillside has given, which is normal, but it's always scary. And the water clears, and it clears. And I'm looking into the hillside just about my height, but about 5 feet away, and there's a tire. There's a tire, and I can see a little bit of a hubcap showing and a wheel. So this is not just a tire, this is possibly a car. And it doesn't look like a 50s tire to me. The tread doesn't, but I'll take any car mystery at this point. I just need something to keep me in this, right? So I go up to the tire, and I take the dredge, and I start dredging next to it, and I get the hub. I can see this hubcap is bright chrome. And the tire is black, and it's kind of gray on the side where it's been buried. And I take my glove, and I rub hard. I'm rubbing it, and it's turning lighter and lighter, and eventually one little spot, it turns white. This is a white wall tire. This is a balloon white wall. This is a 50s car. Oh my gosh, this is great. Okay, great. So if this is the outside of the tire, there probably is another wheel up just up the hill. So I go up there and start digging frantically through the dirt, collapsing stuff down, and I find the other tire parallel to this one, and I start dredging behind it. And I can see this is a rear wheel of a car because there's no steering gear. There's just the leaf springs and then the axles, and then I can see the beginning of the differential. So I know some things about a 54 Ford wagon, probably more than most people. 7 years ago, I memorized it's 115 inches from axle to axle. It's 56 inches center to center of the rear tires, but 58 inches on the front tires. And I, for that same 7 years, have been carrying this measuring tape in my BCD, and I haven't even used it. I'm amazed it even works, but I stretched it out, and I measure from tire to tire is exactly 56 inches. This is huge. This is so huge. I put it away, and I'm back to dredging. I dredge between, so this is an upside-down car. The front of the car is that way. The back of the car is this way. I start digging towards the back, thinking maybe there's a license plate to be had here. I've got about 13 or 14 minutes of air left. I can do this. So I start digging. I dig behind it, and there's the gas tank, this big bubbly steel gas tank on the bottom of the car, and I get it all cleared off of all its debris. And then behind that, there's the chrome bumper. the chrome bumper is still so chrome. And there's this slit, so I'm in between the body of the car and the bumper. I'm taking all the material out of there, dredging it, and I see this cream white color. I'm like, well, what part of the car would that be? In my mind, I'm like, that's the tailgate. That's the tailgate to the wagon. It's open. It's up against the bumper. So I start as fast as I can dredging off the tailgate. And it says Ford, and it says Ford-O-Matic. I've got the measurement, I've got the wheels, I've got the car, I've got the color. I've got the car. I've got the car. And you would think that this is winning, right? This is winning. This thing is the reason for the biggest manhunt in the state's history. This thing has been the reason behind articles and books and podcasts and endless speculation and searching. And I found it. I found the car. This thing has become me. And not this car, this search, right? This search has become my quest. This search has become my purpose. To the point where if I quit this search, I was quitting myself. That's how I really felt. If I failed this search, I was failing myself. I'm so wrapped around this that I honestly couldn't imagine what my life would be after the Martin car search. I really couldn't. And now it's done, right? I got what I came here for. I know where the car is. I've touched the car. My theories were correct. All those theories. It's great. It is great. It is great. I've solved the puzzle. This is the car of the puzzle, right? But there's more here. It's not quite what I thought it would be. Because yes, this is the car of the puzzle, but this is also the car which was the place and the witness of 5 people dying. I thought what had happened to them was long gone, right? I thought the car will be proof, the car will be an artifact. But I felt like the power of this moment and the power of this space was still really strong. I mean, the last person to touch this before me was the last person to die in that car, alone in the dark at the bottom of the locks, with no one to come and no one to know. And now I'm carrying that truth. I'm the only person in the world who knows. And I almost died myself, just 1,000 feet down the river in that ghost net. Right? And before that happened, I don't think I could have understood the level of tragedy that not knowing adds to a death. Like when I had that vision about my wife and kids not knowing what happened to me, where I was, or how I got there, like that is a thick layer of tragic pain that would have been on top of them forever. And it never would have healed itself. And in this case, the not knowing, it led, about the Martins, it led to blame, and it led to conspiracies and darkness. And that's just for the people in the car. Don, the brother, he lived another almost 50 years, having lost his people, not knowing where they were, and then suspicion. I laid my hands on the gas tank. I mean, the car's gas tank. They bought gas in Cascade Locks like hours or minutes before they all died. This tank, the 5 gallons of gas they bought that day, which was one of the main clues, it's still in this tank 25,000 days later. And I can't do anything about their fate. What happened, happened. But I feel something else happening now. I feel this closing. I feel this healing. I feel someone finally knows where they are. Someone finally knows. And I feel like I need to let them know. And in my mask, I yelled, I'm here for you, we know. And I banged on that gas tank 3 times so hard. And in the dim silence that this place is, That was the first real sound in 66 years.